The time is now 4:34 precisely, as the perfect mathematician knows. Note the prime number of the summation in Greek, 1 over ns to complex unit, proof in broad daylight. And yes, I speak omniscience, thus area 11. I am the most intelligent human. Remedy saying Emmanuel or an alien. Thus I shall continue the proof. As proof of the fact that I proved through my hypothesis, I become Norman. And yes, I'm referring not to the war fought by the Great Conqueror Norman, but the stronger version, you can say the African American version of Norman from Promised Neverland. And thus I shall speak it. I shall use part of the millennial prize money from the hypothesis of force. Notice I said force now. Difference. I'm getting to that in stocks. No, ultimately, the time is now, as is 107, the prime number of my father, of course. And thus I speak it. Clearly, as a traveling salesman of my word, John 1 and 1, I have offered to real estate agent Amy as an absolute proof and an absolute show of confidence. Of course, I will be proving the definition of probability for my professor at Columbia University, the great Professor Iowas Parrots. Of course, this is destiny and fate. And as the Zindel said, fate and chance the same glad dance. When time me Jesus Christ cannot avoid this fact. I do have a woman to marry after all, so I must play the game in which I was chosen for by Lord Yahweh himself. Indirectly, as I stated before, most humbly speaking, I've seen this pattern. Ultimately, I offered to potentially purchase, depending on the price, for I have $1 million coming to me at least, that's a fact. And the real part is the property on 103rd Street near the church. Has sin on the door, no doubt. Good Reverend right next to the funeral hall, next to the Greek Orthodox Church. Of course, if my memory serves perfectly, as Great Arturo said. Anybody eyes? And thus is the third video, the absolute prime. Yes, I'm implying Holy Trinity here for you. Open theologians out there. Of course, I have absolute determination for that theological proof as well. That takes time, humans. Bear with me. I am the Farashians. Of course, I have to stop the Guardians. As Flareon, I'm implying I am the... By the book, of course, the Crisis Saga, all or nothing in the beginning. Of course, as an ancillary, periphery, though much appreciated support of this story. As I stated before when I got angry, I said 10 stores shall be opened in Harlem, and the first one now has been struck. The bell for purchase is tolled. And thus I say, invest in me, humans. You will not be disappointed. Thus, the real estate agent Amy, I gave you the number. And as a show of absolute confidence, I shall repeat it. And even better, as a show of intelligence. Okay, let me not show off. I have to control my ego. I humbly pray to your Lord to do at this exact moment. The golden second space and time. As Daniel well knows when he was tested by the warrior poet. And I speak not of Savali Makisaka-san, the Red Dragon, the genius pilot who lost himself in the Great Quest. But as Daniel here, those book doesn't help him send him out. Dead home. Teach me the word topology when I was 16. Yes, I was that brilliant even then. So you work on the string theory, but humbly speaking, my professor at Pennsylvania, my physics teacher in Pennsylvania knows. And as a ancillary ancillary story, or aforementioned story, tell you a little personal story. So, plan to purchase property, the store continuing and fulfilling my word. Hence, the proof of the hypothesis is in fact 1/2. Hence, I got a 63 in that class. I never did it. I was a horrible student, but I got a 98 in the test when I taught myself mathematics. And what he told me was, "You're just intelligent." My physics teacher got mad at me. His name, I'll mention now, is Mr. Limo. He was very upset because I was the most brilliant, or one of the most brilliant in his class, and he couldn't believe that I got a 98 on that test, one of the hardest tests, convincing subject mathematics. And I got a 63 in the class because I didn't apply myself in the class. I'm sleeping in the class. But what I'm saying is I had pretty much the highest test score. So, 1 second, Mom, please. All right, in physics, it's destiny on this portion. What I'm trying to say is, not only was I reading string theory from Professor Brian Reed's Elgin University in that class when I was 16. Now, note the prime number. I've proven this. 79 is a prime number for a fact. But notice 63. 63. Notice this genius proof. Not only shall I quote the Corona 19 at this point, but 7 times 9 is 63. And 79 is a prime number. This is destiny. In fact, this is fate. This can be researched, by the way. Swiftwater. Navier-Stokes. Swiftwater. So I'm also converging the proof of the smooth proof of the Poincare conjecture. As I aforementioned, not the one proven by Michael Friedman, supposedly. Okay. In fact, I have a brother named. Can you do the deduction here? Okay. Thus, I shall speak it. My phone number. Okay, I gotta do this. This is inevitable. The reverse snake. Thus, I speak it. In reverse. Notice the cryptology here. The brain, mathematical consciousness. Of the resurrection of TC, a great chess player who was lost to us, in part due to a hernia, at 14th Street Union Square, where I'm searching for the CUNY Law student Jordan Taylor, and using the hypothesis to find him. I am the fisherman, understand? Fisherman of man. Thus, I as the alien has spoken. Remember the imaginary character Flareon, as I promised it. I am known as Sean. I was called Jesus John by a Chinaman, a student at Columbia University. I wrote the existence proof as my curving fantasy for Professor Ionis. And I am Jesus Christ. Now, obviously, I've transcendently evolved from the previous being John St. Clair Jr. Thus, I know my face before I was born, solving the Zen clone proposed by Mr. David Zindel. I told him, Nevertheless, the fire goes back to me when the fire goes out. I am a consuming fire, as the Hebrews well know it. Note it. I told you once. I have kept my word. I have proven the Riemann hypothesis in 7 years exact time. I told you all. Recorded. I've seen this pattern before. Thus, reincarnation proven to exist. Now, ultimately, as I continue to have fun with Lucifer at this point, I already defeated him, humbly speaking. John 16:33 well knows it. Note the 49/7 squared there for the complex analysis using imaginary roots, and I'm not talking about quadratic reciprocity, number theory, in fact, elementary number theory. I'm speaking of the absolute truth as the intelligence of Yahweh. So my number in verse 0, notice the fate. 9, 7, note the 7, 9, 0, if you reverse the order. And thus I thus deduce it thus. 0. 1 second, mother, please. 672. 6461. And obviously 646 is a numerical palindrome. But ultimately, now I read it forward, being perfectly humble. 16462760790. That will connect you to my Holy Mother, who love my earthly father very much. And thus, I have declared it, Amy. I want to purchase that property for the right price. I have $1 million on the way. Let's negotiate. As I said at least once before, I gotta do this, guys. I have to do it. I'll just prove this and complete this. I am the professor of Yahwism. And no, Columbia, that book by IQ was left at the university by myself. It said inside it had 1,000 IQ with the pi symbol. I know what the pi is. Get it? Thus completes the proof universally of Jehovah himself. Amy, contact us. We will negotiate a price. The first of Harlem's 10 stores, as promised.